All righty, we're gonna get rolling here. It is February 8th, 2022 at 5:30 p.m. This is our first committee meeting of 2022. It's the ACT committee meeting with myself, Nick Allen, and I'm joined with Patrick McCoy. So we're gonna call it to order right on the dot at 5:30. Item number 2 is comments, suggestions, petitions by residents in attendance regarding items not on the agenda. Hey, how's it going?
Hi, Nick. Beth Ann Rossico, 338 West Minor. I'm just checking in on the status of the home rule charter to see if you guys had made any progress on that.
Yeah, so we've made some progress, not enough to get it on the agenda for this month. Mr. Metrick and I reviewed some of the language that we got back from our solicitors, and I felt that the language did not capture fully what we were talking about yet. So we're going to try to hit it again for draft number 2 with them. I apologize. This has been so slow.
Now, I appreciate it, and certainly I just want to continue to offer if there's anything I can do to be of assistance, I'm happy to volunteer some time.
I greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for the update.
Great. Any other comments, suggestions, petitions? All right, seeing none, we're gonna hop on to number 3, which is to schedule a hearing for proposed changes to single-use plastics ordinance. Oh, yeah, come right ahead.
So my name is Jim Wiley. I live in the borough in Lafayette Street. I'm also a member of the the Westchester Area Council of Governments Clean Energy Future Committee, and I just wanted to stop by at all the subcommittees in their new instantiation and let you know that this project exists, and our priority right now has been on got a sorry, I'm out of breath with the mask on. Got a survey for electric vehicles to get feedback from the borough. And, I'd like to get as many people to get input as possible and get some statistics on what the interest is and how people feel about EVs and public charging stations and all that.
I think I'm okay for right now.
Sir, you said you sent a survey out. When do you expect the results?
So it's been up on the Westchester website or Facebook page for a little bit. It's on the surrounding townships are sharing it. We've got about 250 responses so far. Most of them are from Westtown, who sent out an email blast for it. So we're trying to get some other everybody to have all the townships to have 100, 200. So hopefully in the spring we'll have a good sampling that we can.
Thanks for coming tonight. All right, we can now move on to number 3. Thanks, Will.
Good evening, everyone. So as you are likely aware, January 1st, our single-use ordinance is officially being enforced after a long slog. At the December meetings, we had a very long conversation about the fee portion of the ordinance. I will spare you all a recap of that. It was a long conversation, but suffice to say, the fee is a critical piece of that policy and serves a lot of very important functions. So that being said, the fee doesn't make sense in all scenarios. Takeout and food delivery, which we discussed specifically at December, and at the time, council voted to amend the ordinance to exempt the fee from those scenarios. So before you is the amended ordinance. All we did was add definitions of takeout and food delivery, and then add an exemption for that scenario. So This is pretty straightforward. The ask tonight is that you kick this up to Borough Council so we can schedule a hearing, which would likely be prior to the March work session, and the ordinance amended and new information out to businesses.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds good to me. Any questions about that? I know you were just hopping on here. Okay, cool.
Mr. Williams, the only question I have, the little blip that we ran into with the charitable people, do you think that needs to be part of the ordinance where what happened was the St. Agnes Room and the various churches are packaging free food for the homeless, and they were worried that they had to go out and buy paper bags. And I contacted Will, and maybe you want to explain more about it.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Luckily, and this is why our ordinances are so long, the definitions are very specific. And when we looked at that scenario, St. Agnes didn't fit the definition of a commercial establishment. The bag didn't definition of bags, so it just wasn't applicable. So I think as long as we stick to the ordinance and, interpret it strictly, we'll be just fine.
Cool, we can recommend that 3-0 then. And then item number 4 is a CIO annual report for 2021.
So instead of having the actual report up here, I just have some highlights that we'll go through. And the actual report is available on the website. The first thing I want to say is 2021, again, everyone knows, has seen us continuing to respond to COVID and entering this new normal phase that none of us saw happening in 2019. Things like virtual work, cybersecurity, enhanced collaboration, data sharing, remote and hybrid meetings are among changes all industries are facing right now, and we are no different than other organizations. So while we begin moving in many of these directions, we were moving in many of these directions before the pandemic hit, as everyone here knows. That did help us prepare for when the pandemic hit. However, we do continue exploring new ways of improving services and, of course, interdepartmental collaboration, while, of course, remaining cyber safe along the way. So some of our 2021 projects that we completed last year was we migrated away from SharePoint and over to Microsoft Teams for our data. And then mid last year, we migrated all of our voice services over to Microsoft Teams as well, as including meetings and interdepartmental chat. And this was all in our continuing effort to collect and manage and share our data and workflow processes throughout the organization. So this is a big part of that. Not the only part, but it's part of it. We also moved away from our internal Notify Me service over to Chester County's Ready Chesco last year. We upgraded our fleet GPS services, and we removed all the old fax services, and now we have a pure eFax solution in place. And as everyone knows, we continue to build out our hybrid public meetings and streaming services. We are now streaming these meetings on Facebook, and we have the ability to have people remote in as necessary. We migrated away from Verizon Wireless to T-Mobile. We did that for 2 reasons. One was it was less expensive, and T-Mobile today has a better 5G platform in the borough. We also finally installed new environmental control solutions in the server room. That means a pure HVAC system to protect our equipment. We also, this was a biggie, towards the end of the year, we finally deployed 2-factor authentication throughout the organization for our employees. A couple notes here. We have additional work to do this year on the audio video solution in the council chambers. So we're working on that right now. And you guys are the only ones left I have to get to for 2-factor. So I'm hoping maybe they do something before the council meetings next week. So have your mobile device with you and we'll set it up. Cybersecurity, you knew this was coming. So of course, cybersecurity continues to be one of the most important aspects of protecting organizations. This is a 24/7, 7 days a week responsibility for IT. Our in-house solution does stop countless phishing attacks and other digital attacks every day. Each of these attacks has to be followed up by IT to make sure nothing is missing or was missed. And of course, like everything else, nothing is 100%. In addition to automated solutions, many suspicious incidents are reported by our staff, and they are immediately investigated and remediated by IT, which is why staff training, and then Sean's tired of hearing this, I'm sure, staff training is critical. And for the longest time, they were getting training every quarter. I communicate with them through email, and we talk openly about it, and they do a great job of reporting anything suspicious. We need to maintain that by continuing regular training of our staff. So moving forward to our 2022, some of the planned projects we have moving forward, of course, is the Borough Council Chambers. And there's two factors here: designing a permanent hybrid solution so we can get rid of all these cables and wires that are on the floor, make it easier to use for staff. And of course, get some acoustical treatments into this submarine, which is what I call this room. We will be upgrading our servers on a planned upgrade. We're adding a couple additional enhancements to our cybersecurity protection. One is called Phishline, and that basically lets IT send out phishing and malware attacks to staff, monitor how they respond, and that way we can train individuals on a one-on-one basis based on how they respond. I assume they're all going to do excellent. And Data Inspector is a new exciting service that I really want to put into place, which actually constantly is scanning all of the team's libraries, all of the OneDrive libraries for anything suspicious. That's a biggie too. I'm almost done. In May, we're going to be updating our website. This will be a big effort throughout the organization, everybody working together to do that. We need to upgrade our offsite data backup storage, this meaning we're just kind of running out of space. A lot of that is because of the police nature of their job. They store a lot of video from offsite locations, and so we just need to kind of stay ahead of that and do some upgrading there. We've already put in an emergency PFA station in the police department. That's protection from the abuse. So Westchester Borough Police are one of the locations that anyone can go to at any time to file an emergency protection from abuse order. And we had to set that up in one of their interview rooms. Chief said this weekend they used it 3 or 4 times already, as soon as we installed it. So that's exciting. Let's see. Okay, and the police department, they're moving a lot of their in-car video and body cam video from an on-site storage to a hybrid and into the cloud. So that's going to be something that's going to alleviate some of our storage issues here. And some other additional enhancements we're going to be working on throughout the year is IT is going to play a bigger role in the parking department, especially with their handheld devices. We're working on upgrading them. Their LPR, the license plate reader equipment. Working on enhancing our online payment options for the borough. We use Clover as a point of sale. They now offer a free add-on to do online payments. So we're going to start working with them. And we're actually, hopefully, the police department are going to be accepting eventually online payments for their applicants. So that may be our first, dive into that solution. Helping as much as we can with the parking garages. And of course, for me personally and for the IT department overall, we're very excited to finally have a data specialist in here to help manage the organization's data and get a better handle on how we manage and share data. So that's going to be a big asset to everyone. And I'm sure there will be more. And so anybody has any questions, the annual report's up online. Sorry it took so long.
We're only like 15 minutes into the meeting. We're okay. Thank you. Any questions about that anywhere, Patrick?
No questions. Well done. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Pat.
Surprised we're not talking about the fees for the online.
Not yet.
Not yet. Is there any difference? Just curious.
It's the exact same infrastructure as the Clover. There's a 3% charge we can add to each one. I think there's a lot of planning going to have to happen with that because a lot of the service we do provide You know, we're not in the shipping business. Someone wants to buy 10 trash bags, I don't know how we get it to them. So there's still going to be a lot of in-house purchasing, but we need to identify what can be done online. Police applications are a perfect example. When they apply, they post their payment. Nothing else needs to be transacted. So we have to identify those transactions.
That was the only one that I have. So thank you. I really appreciate it. It's always very helpful every year. Any other public questions, comments, concerns? Awesome. Thanks again. And we're already on number 5, which is to approve the December minutes.
The only one
I was
standing.
gonna ask, were you on ACT last year?
You're the
So,
last one standing.
fine by me. So I think we're good on that. And then we're good to go on to other business, item 6. Any other business tonight? That's the first committee meeting. We'll adjourn at 5:46. Thanks so much.
Had I known that, I would have kept on talking.